Hey yo, how's it going everyone? My name is DiceMP and I'm a new streamer on Twitch. I stream different games, mostly FPSs, and the game that got me started into streaming was Crucible. If you haven't heard of it, it's a MMO third-person PvP PvE shooter. I know it's a mouthful, and personally I enjoy the game a lot. Like, I'm seriously addicted to it. This video is going to be on IGN's recent review about Crucible. They had a lot of negative things to say, so I reacted to it on stream and gave my thoughts on the game itself and their review. If you want to catch me live playing games, hanging out, or doing whatever, I stream daily around 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. And if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and subscribe for more content coming around. Also, don't forget to leave a comment on your thoughts on the game, opinions on what I said or IGN said. All my links will be in the description below, and I hope to catch you guys in the stream. Anyway, enjoy. GU. Yeah, I saw this review. I didn't like it. Here, I'll play it really quick.
Like a monster assembled from
So IGN, you know, they're usually pretty good with like reviews and stuff, but like a lot of times like I feel like they don't play, like, at least for Crucible, they did not play this game to its full potential. I even made a comment on it. You know, click on it on YouTube. I put a comment down myself. And I just said, everything you're saying just sounds like you're really bad at the game, only play solo, and haven't heard what the devs are doing to improve the game, including voice comms coming probably later this week.
Well, things are really starting to hot up now. We've got our crossbows firing at the enemy.
Yeah, IGN, I don't know, their review was not very good in my opinion. Like
like a monster assembled from dismembered design ideas from the world of esports and reanimated through unholy magic, Crucible attempts to forge a greater whole through the fires of interstellar warfare. In order to compete against the other team, you have to hunt creatures to gain XP and level up, which is a pain because it's extremely boring. The most common creatures to hunt are...
I feel like the boring thing is an opinion, and for them to put that in a review, like, I don't know. Like, I enjoy doing the leveling up in this game. Like, I enjoy going for the objectives. Like, even, like, obviously, like, an early game when you're just, like, farming the animals and, like, looking for stuff, sure, it can be boring, but, like, not if you enjoy the game. Like, I don't find the farming to be boring or slow at all.
Are these stompers, and they're nowhere near as dangerous as they look. They just waddle towards you at a comically unthreatening pace, with no trace of interesting behavioral patterns, gleefully swallowing on your lead aspirin and dealing next to no damage.
Okay, those stompers, right? The stompers are, like, obviously very passive, but if you think about it, your health in this game is very low. Very, very low. And, like, especially once you get up to, like, I would say for level 5 or above, like, there's just so much damage output that enemy players can do, and there's not a lot of med kits that spawn around the map, or if there are, a lot of times people don't scan for them and look for them, right? So why would they add these stompers to be something, like, really hard to fight? Like, why? Like, there's no reason, because all it would be doing is making you use med kits before, like, the actual fight even starts, when, like, you really need the med, like, using a med kit outside of, like, either capturing a hive or, like, in an actual team fight against, like, PvP, like, it's usually a waste, and the only other way that you can heal is if you go to a heal station or one of the harvester commands. So it's like, if the stompers were really hard and they took away your HP, it would be really annoying, because then you would have to farm and then go heal, and then farm and then go heal. And on top of that, the medkits don't even, like, max out your health all the way, like, if you're super low. They do it, like, I think it's like 90% or something like that, like 80-90% of your health, but still, like, the game would not be sufficient if the stompers did a shit ton of damage, or if, like, not even if they did a lot of damage, like, if they were, like, just really hard to fight in general. Like, I like how passive they are. And then the other thing is, there's a lot of times where, like, you're fighting someone, and then, like, you don't even realize that there's a couple stompers behind you, and they start fighting you. I guess that has to do with awareness, but, like, I mean, I play with my friends, and, like, it happens rarely, but there's times where they just catch you off guard, and, like, those few extra hits from the stompers, like, do add up in a team fight. So I feel like that's where their damage really goes into play. Like, it'd be so annoying for you to fight the stompers and for you to, like, do stuff. And then plus there's the other, I don't even know if they mentioned the other type of aliens that are in the game. I forget what they're called, but the ones like the spitters, I think. Like, the spitters do a lot more damage. So, like, whenever we're fighting, like, a stomper herd, Like, sure, we don't use medkits and stuff like that. Like, they're usually really easy to farm. But whenever you're fighting, like, spitter herds and they spawn in somewhere, they do a lot of damage. And, like, the splash damage, it's hard to, like, dodge their spits all the time. So, like, it's a give and take, you know?
Do no damage.
Yeah, they didn't even mention the spitters. Like...
On the surface, Crucible's lack of traditional tank, healer, and DPS roles might sound like it'd create dynamic combat, but in practice, it's fairly shallow. Each character has 5 or 6 distinct offense-centric skills and must rely on medkits found throughout the map for healing, so everybody's pretty self-sufficient.
Okay, another thing they missed out on. Bug does support healing. Like, the Bug character has a healing ability. They don't even mention that.
But as the bodies pile up...
Like, the Bug healing isn't a lot, don't get me wrong, but, like, they don't mention it at all. And, like, they also don't mention, like, the shields that, like, Rahi gives. Like, there is other support outside of healing just for medkits.
Becomes obvious how lonely Crucible's PvP is.
Yeah, the other thing, too, is, like, how he's like, oh, the tank play versus the DPS and the healer role, like, it would add stuff. You notice, like, if you're playing solo, you really don't notice, like, the team synergy that a lot of the heroes have, especially, like, if you run 2 tanks and then 2 DPS, or 2 tanks, DPS, and then, like, a healing bug. Like, if you run a team comp with your friends, like, you can't run 4 DPS. Like, you need a tank. So, for them to just say, like, oh, yeah, no, it's not there, it's not complex enough. It is. They just only run solos.
Bizarrely, it's a team-based game that doesn't encourage teamwork at all. There's no in-game voice or text chat.
Doesn't encourage at all. There's a ping system. They mentioned in a second.
Which makes communicating with your comrades unnecessarily difficult, and the ping system is nowhere near as versatile or in-depth as the one in Apex Legends.
Let's group up! Let's group up!
Worse yet, combatants are only in it for themselves. That's mainly due to the fact that each hunter's toolkit leans heavily on self-preservation rather than providing support to others.
I mean, you have Mendoza's turret that gives a medkit, that's to others. You have a Jonas bubble for clouding and giving cover. Like, you have Rahi's shield, you have bug support. Like this review is very, like, it's just bad. It's not a good review. They miss out on so much stuff.
Only a few have abilities like a smoke bomb or shield that let you back up an ally in trouble. So team fights end up as shallow arena battles thanks to the lack of synergy between hunters.
There is a synergy between certain hunters. There is. There isn't, like, a set meta. Like, you can honestly run whatever you want and still do fine and, like, win games, but, like, there is synergy between heroes, and for them to just say that they're, like, the thing too, like, about this is that whenever you're giving a review, you cannot make broad statements, like, or over exaggerate. For them to say that there's no synergy at all and stuff, and for them to talk about the ping system and how it's not in depth, when, like, you don't need that in depth of a ping system. Like, I think there's like 6 or 8 different pings. There's, like, enemy here, there's a on my mark, there's look, there's group up. Like, I think there's enough for the game in the meantime. Like, sure, it's not going to be as in-depth as Apex, which they compare it to, but Apex has a lot more things in the game than what this one does to, like, do. Like, there's footsteps that you can see if you're a blood hunter, so, like, you mark those, and, like you can't compare that. Like, it's like comparing the ping system in Modern Warfare Warzone, right? Like, you can't compare the Warzone ping system compared to the Apex one. Because, like, they're 2 different games that have different elements and different things in it that, like, they don't need as many complex pinging. They don't. I would agree, though, that, like, not being able to talk to your teammates is a, like, big detriment. But the devs said it in a video literally released, like, 2 days before this was made, that they are pushing out voice comms. Like, and it sounded, like, from the sound of it, they sounded like they're pushing it out ISAP, which I'm guessing it would come out this weekend or later, early into the coming week.
Match pacing has a nasty habit of being dreadful, and it's largely because of the terrible respawn system. Every time you die, there's a 30-second wait before you're able to get back in a match in Heart of Hives, and following that, another 8 seconds for the drop pod to take you back to the planet's surface.
The respawn system is pretty annoying. I'll agree with that.
Learning.
There's nothing to do during that time because you can't even talk to your team about a potential change of tactics.
Again, these people sound like they're only solo queuing. They're only solo queuing. Because, like, I mean, again, like, if you are dead, you want to know what you can do? You can look at the map, see what objectives there are throughout the map, and then ping for that. or like I don't know, like it's like you can do stuff when you're dead, like and for them to just say like there's nothing that you can do while you're dead, like, it's.
And when you do arrive, it takes forever to get back to the fight. Character movement speed is agonizingly slow, the map is gargantuan, and respawn points are often as far away.
The map, honestly, if you play for a little amount of time, the map is like does not feel that big, like overall. Like it's a good sized map. I actually like the map a lot. I think the movement speed in the game did feel really slow at first, but like it's obviously like okay, the thing about different games, right? You need different movement speed for different games. Call of Duty super fast paced compared to CS:GO and like Valorant. Obviously your movement speed is not going to be the same on CS:GO as it is on Call of Duty because they're two entirely different games. And for them to just be like, "Oh, the movement speed is like really slow." It feels slow because it needs to be. And like you have all like and plus you have cooldowns on every single character that allows you to move faster besides Shikari, like unless you like use her right click. So it's like sure there's no movement speed, but like it needs to be, like that's where the balance is. There's a reason why the movement speed isn't really fast, and that's because you can honestly get from one side of the map to the other relatively quickly for the pace of the game. If you could like move faster, I feel like the game would just be too cluttered. Team fights, like once you win a team fight, the other team could respawn and get on top of you way too quick. And like I think the timing is well put in the game. Besides the respawns, I don't like the timing in the respawns, but I think if anything, the respawn should be 30 seconds at most, and then like in the last 8 seconds when you're waiting, rather than an additional 8 seconds, like at 22 seconds, that's when you start respawning to your spot. But it's, I don't think the movement speed is
Away from the
this game.
objectives.
Like once you understand the map and how good the map is, like and know where everything is. For new players, like I remember my first day, I was like, there needs to be a mini map. I'm tired of pressing tab. Like once you play a couple games, you understand where everything is on the map, and like you know how to get where you need to go at all times. Like that's just awareness leveling. Like
As can be. Way too much time is wasted just trudging around trying to get to the action. The Alpha Hunters mode, meanwhile, is a horrendous take on Battle Royale with no scavenging or survival, so what's the point?
I don't like BRs in general, so I don't really have much to say on Alpha Hunters.
Highlight is that when your duo is the last standing, you have to fight your teammate for the ultimate win.
They don't even mention the friendly system, like on how you can group up with someone
Coming!
at all.
Finally, Harvester Command is just a Battlefield-like conquest mode. That'd be fine, except fights are more frequent, so you're...
Like, dude, this is trash gameplay. Trash gameplay. Everything that they shoot at is one shot,
just
and then
a
look, he's shooting.
Battlefield-like conquest
One,
mode. That'd be
two.
fine, except fights are more frequent.
Like, dude, I understand you want to line up your shot as a Jonah. But like, he took all that time to line up his shots and didn't even get a headshot. Are you kidding me? Like, they aren't good at the game. They shouldn't be talking about a game if they don't even understand.
So you'll
it fully.
probably die more often, and that means even more time wasted respawning.
And he still takes all. He finally hit a headshot, but he still takes all that time and missed 3 shots.
Crucible's ambitious marriage of PvE
Person's one shot, he got a kill, but she was already low.
and PvP has resulted in a whole that's less than the sum of its parts, especially thanks to the awful match pacing and agonizingly slow respawn system. With continued support, it might evolve into something decent, but the underlying issues will take a massive overhaul to...
Alright, the hitbox thing, they're showing this here. It's like, the hitboxes in the game aren't good. Like, you know, he's not even aiming at them and he's hitting the bot's head. So I think they mentioned fixing hitboxes, though. I think they already put out a patch to help fix it a little bit, but they're resolving it.
remedy. Instead of putting its various moving parts through a vigorous trial that leads to the creation of something new and exciting, Crucible gathers the ashes and tosses them to the wind. For more on Crucible, check out our full written review on IGN.com or watch 10 minutes.
So yeah, overall, this review, garbage. Bad gameplay, only solo queued, and they didn't even talk about a lot of things within the game modes that made it so much fun. It seems like the thing with this game was it got bombarded with bad Steam reviews. Like, it was like 80% negative reviews, but if you look at those reviews, 90% of those bad reviews were people that played for like a half hour. And it seems like they did the same exact thing. They didn't play that much. Like, I don't know. And like the AVA mode is just supposed to be like casual and fun. That's why it's an arcade playlist. And for them to like be talking trash on it, it's mostly something just like practice and get good with like aiming with the characters. Like, I'm sorry, but IGN did a terrible
minutes
job
of
this.
gameplay,
They
and
did
for
a
everything else,
terrible
keep it
job
right
of
here
reviewing
on
this game.
IGN.
Adhesive Alpha.
Like, if I'm being honest, as much as I love Crucible, yes, it isn't a good game, but to give it a 4 and to miss out on so many key points, like, this is a 4-minute video, and I think I've been talking about it for 15 minutes just because they miss out on so much stuff. Like, it was a terrible review, and I'm not happy with what they, like, how bad it was. Like, especially for, like, as big as they are. IGN is, like, such a big company, and they're giving out these shit reviews. Like, I don't know. It's not good. Like, they're 4-star, sure. Like, if they're giving it a 4, sure, that's fair. Like, if you don't like the game, you don't like the game. But, like, this is just a bad review. It really is. Like, the review is worse than what they give this. This is like a 1 out of 10 review. Like, it's so bad.